In YouTube land, we are WordPress St. Petersburg. You have come to our wonderful Ask Us Anything Crowdsourcing WordPress Support Workshop. I am Jim True. I'm the lead organizer for WordPress Tampa Bay and WordPress St. Petersburg, and below me are my co-organizers, Elaine Simmons and Travis Lopes. Of course, I've said them in direct opposite order, so now Travis is actually Elaine and Elaine is actually Travis. You have to answer to that all night. Jen couldn't make it with us tonight, but I'm sure she'll be at the next one. So let's get started. We are WordPress St. Petersburg. We meet monthly on the first Tuesday of the month at 6:30 p.m. We are online only through all of... I still need to update that one little number there. It's supposed to say 2022, not 2021. Anyway. I keep forgetting to change this. It's like, I'll do it at the end of the call. All right. So anyway, our meetup is meetup.com /WordPress-St-Petersburg. The website is WPTampabay.org. WPTampabay.org. On our website, you will see our primary communication channels, our Slack chat, our Facebook group, and all of our meetups. We are a member of the WordPress Tampa Bay Network, which means that we are a loosely affiliated group of meetup groups that meet throughout Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg, Tampa, Brandon, Valrico, Newport Richey, and Lakeland at this point, because Lakeland has a meetup group, but they haven't met in quite a long time, and I live in Lakeland, and so there we go. But anyway, I'll probably add Lakeland to the list sooner or later. But that is us. Our upcoming meetups and events are going to be two more of these. May 3rd, we're going to have an Ask Us Anything crowdsourcing WordPress support workshop. And on June 7th, we're going to have another one. I know this is kind of like sad and boring, but honestly, it works. We've all been kind of like zoomed out and online out for the entire pandemic. So until we're meeting in person again, this is going to pretty much be the process. We may end up doing a talk on something in the next month or so. I will let you guys know, and I'll send out notifications ahead of time. Hey, Ann, I saw you pop into our thing. So how you doing, Ann Barca? We have 3 people watching the show right now. All right, so we're looking for speakers. If you are interested in talking about things that fascinate you as far as WordPress goes, web design, front end or back end, plugin reviews, theme reviews, anything pertinent to web design or entrepreneurship that involves computers, one would hope, we're happy to have you talk to us. Oops, clicked the wrong button. Here we go. Sorry. I get turned around. I keep thinking this thing's going to do what it needs to do and forget the fact that I'm actually physically on a stream. There we go. Come on now. There. If you've never spoken public before, no problem. We have this wonderful environment here where no one has to look at you but us. But even though you're broadcasting to hundreds and thousands of people, even though only 2 people are watching us right now. But we do get views, so sometimes people do see you. This is great for your resume, your LinkedIn, or your Twitter. It's always a good thing to be talking to about things that you're passionate about. If you are interested in talking at one of our little online events, contact us at wptampabay.org. Click on the speakers link at the top and click on call for speakers. Our code of conduct tonight is there are no stupid questions except the one you didn't ask. We believe in no question is stupid, period. It's like if you don't ask it, then it's stupid because you had time to ask it. Anyway, limit your questions. We will be limiting questions to 10 to 15 minutes discussion. Any more than that, you should be hiring a consultant. And everyone gets to speak, but no crosstalk, please. We're on headphones and stuff, so crosstalk creates big lapses in communication. The dial-in etiquette for tonight is we're using StreamYard, and the invite link is posted on both Facebook and YouTube chat. When you join that link, you'll be given immediate guest instructions, which are also linked here. They walk you through turning on your microphone and you're testing your camera and everything else like that. The most important thing is to make sure you've got your connection configured properly and you've tested your mic and speakers. And if you're also watching the stream through Facebook or YouTube, mute the audio in those windows. You'll see it because at the top of your tab, if you're in Chrome or Safari or Facebook, you'll see a little audio icon. And if that audio icon is on another window besides the one you're on, your audio is going to come through in multiple windows and we'll have to mute you. Okay? All right. So, tonight, questions. Ask us anything. Let me get rid of this thing. All right. We, unfortunately, did not have a lot of questions on our meetup this week. We had 3, and 2 of them were actually in meetup comments. So, which is kind of weird. One of the questions was, or actually comments they said, was a new user creating a website for a nonprofit business. Steve, I think that's great, but if you're on the call, join us and tell us what you're actually needing help with. Because if you're, that's just a statement. We need you to come in with questions. Otherwise, we can't do much with that. But let me go back to our meetup, and the comments that came through were earlier in the week. Jim Daniels asked, let me see if I can get this one in there real quick. Dun, 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 dun. Did I stop sharing? Oh, hang on. We got somebody asking about a link for the stream. Hang on 1 second. Michelle Gerardo. Give me just 1 second. There's a blast from the past.
Yeah.
I know. I sent it to her. So there we go.
So there.
So there. All right. So Jim Daniels asked. Oh, wrong link. Hang on. Just copied over my own comment. That was not good. I need 18 more arms. Okay? I request 18 more arms, please. All right. Jim asks, I'm using Chimp Mail with WordPress. On my customer contact page, there is a button at the bottom of the page a customer click to send the page information to me. According to WordPress, this should happen automatically. However, it does not. I need to know how to set the button to direct information page to my email. Depending on what you're using. If you're using forms with the MailChimp integration, your form is actually handling the submission to your email. And you may need to look at your admin email that you've configured for your WordPress site and make sure that it is the same as your domain name. Because if it isn't, more than likely your mailbox configurator for your mail website is going to be blocking it. We have a really good article on our Gravity Forms documentation that is pretty much pertinent for just about any form-based thingy. So, there's Michelle. Hey, sweetie, when you're ready to come in, let me know. Let us know. We'll bring you into the call. Unless you just want to come in.
No, I don't want to be in.
You don't want to be in? Too bad, you're in.
Only if I can be on camera.
You thought you were having a conversation with somebody else, didn't you? No, Michelle.
Hi, Travis. Hi, Michelle. Hi.
We've missed you. We haven't seen you in forever.
I know. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I was thinking about you. I was thinking about you recently.
Thank you. I am so sorry.
It happens. It happens. It's always good to hear your voice. Okay, let me share this link real quick and pop it on our shared document page real quick. This is a pertinent one for just about anybody, honestly, because when you're working with Forms plugins and you're working with email, especially, it can be really hard to troubleshoot where the problems are happening in your notifications, your emails, when they're coming from the web. By default, here we go. Let me see how I'm sharing that. Yep, okay, good. Let me zoom that in just a tad. Okay, so email notifications are sent. If you want to think about this like you would a post office, email notifications kind of like when you send a form submit from your form, that thing to send the email goes down as a little box or like an envelope with the email from, the email to, any BCCs, any CCs, whatever. And that goes down to like a little post office box or an outgoing mailbox on your website. In WordPress, that's called WP underscore email or WP underscore mail, is the PHP function that handles that. Your website actually handles all of that process. So unless you've got a third-party mail server integrator like SendGrid or Mailgun or Postmark, or you've configured your WordPress installation with SMTP using like WP, SMTP. There's a couple of different plugins that do it. Unless you've done that, the entire email process goes from the form through the PHP WP mail into your website host's mail sending process. Some website hosts like WP Engine, like GoDaddy, you can tell with GoDaddy because all of the emails that go through that process come from secureserver.net thing or securemail.server.net. It gets really confusing. And all of those kind of emails like that can actually get flagged as spam because they're not coming from the website domain address. And that is one of the most critical things you can do. We actually talk about that in this troubleshooting documentation about the problems that will usually happen if your email can't be sent. A lot of that comes down to is the from email address also match the domain of your website? If it doesn't, does the website have permission to send email as that domain? Or does the domain have permission to send this? A lot of these things are called DKIM, and there's a couple other terms for it. But basically, they're all inside this one documentation called Troubleshooting Notifications. Most of the other form engines, I believe, all kind of do something to this nature. So this is kind of like a pretty good.
At the end of the day, pretty much all of the form plugins out there are using the same WP Mail function. So
yep.
Long and the short of it is to either set up an SMTP plugin or use something like a SendGrid, a Mailgun, Postmark.
Yeah.
Personally, I would recommend Postmark if you're going to use a third-party solution because one, it's pretty economical. It's like $10 a month, and they have and compared to the other ones, and this is the key that made us switch to Postmark, they have a 45-day retention.
Oh wow! You mean on the logs and stuff?
Yes.
Awesome.
Which comes in very handy if you're doing e-commerce, because if you send out like a purchase email notification, or like a renewal notification, like, hey, you were told about the renewal coming up, and someone disputes that renewal,
right?
You have identifiable proof that they got that email, open that email.
Yeah, that's the big reason to use the transactional services like SendGrid, Mailgun, and Postmark, and there are others, I'm sure. Yeah. But the primary reason for those is to have transactional records of your delivery and stuff like that. Not only delivering it, but some of them even do the reading bit too. So, but regardless, I say almost all the times the form is never the issue as to why your mails do not get sent. So if your mails are not being sent, that's probably the problem, is something on your local site. Now, that being said, if you were configuring MailChimp typically is a subscription service, so it's going to be going from your website into the mailing list service and then get picked up by MailChimp. MailChimp also has to have authority to send mail as your website domain. So there's a lot of little pieces that all fit in there. And basically it's like, I'm a postman, I'm a mailman picking up the mail and I got to drop it off at all these little locations. But I don't know, that return address doesn't look like this return address says, I don't know, Lakeland, and you're sending it from St. Pete. That's not right. So we're going to send it back to you. And that's pretty much how mail works in the email system. So we have a Facebook user that says, we are live now. Is that you, Elaine?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I was just like, what? But anyway, Jim, if that didn't answer your question, I didn't see you reply back on our comments on Meetup. So if that didn't answer your question, bring it up on Facebook or otherwise. Nichelle, you had a question or you had a request.
Well, wait, I want to follow up with that topic. Okay,
go ahead.
For instance, today, someone was discussing with me, they want this little micro site. They bought a domain name, and they want on the contact page all the emails to go to any name, or he rattled off some other Gmail or something. Now, that's going to be a problem, right?
No, you can send email to any email you want to. It's the from email that matters.
Okay.
So when you're sending an email from a website form, your from email has to be an authorized email of that domain.
So
like if I use my Gmail account for my personal website instead of jimtrue.com,
yeah,
that more than likely would send a flag error down somewhere in the emailing chain, and my emails would get flagged as spam. As a matter of fact, they used to.
So. For this new domain, I could create an info at newdomain.com and just use that for the email.
Yeah.
Right? And forward everything to the Gmail.
You could do that, or you could just send it. I mean, I don't personally, when you're dealing with a website contact form, you don't want to send emails to Gmail. You just don't. You just don't. You really should be using the website domain, even if it's just masquerading as that. Even if it is all going to Gmail, you still want it to come from. You want it to go from and to that website domain's email.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
And there's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot to get around it. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of settings.
Not even just from like an avoiding spam and like deliverability perspective, it just looks a little more professional and like looks a little more like a legit email if it comes from the domain of the site that's.
Well, and part of this too is, because this is talked about in that notifications document, but a lot of these things, like some companies will have multiple domains. All of those domains have to be configured as authorized senders for the primary domain that you're going to be sending websites from. So it gets really messy, but it's one of those things that as a tech person, it's really good to understand this stuff because you can charge for it, because it is a nightmare to configure. There's a lot of settings. There's a lot of stuff. Some of the stuff has to be done at the DNS level. All of the SPF records and DKIM stuff have to be done at the DNS for the domain name. Some of this stuff has to be done if you're using Google Apps or Zoho or one of those. If you're using multiple domains, a lot of that actually has to be handled at the admin level for that domain on the website as well. Not just at WordPress, but physically at the host server. So it can get really messy.
And last week, somebody was telling me there are a bunch of services that do this, but they warm up your email address. Yeah. You could pay like $9 a month, and they have these little trolls that run out there and warm, send stuff and receive stuff using your email so that it goes through all those paces, so it's not considered a spam.
Yeah, and honestly, being trusted is primarily the main reason of how to not have your email treated as spam. Sending trusted emails, sending through trusted services is the best way to have your email not be treated as spam. That's pretty much it.
What do you mean? Like, give us
doing
the
SPF work, doing the DKIM work at the domain level to show that I am, my website is a trusted sender for this email address, not using spammy subject lines,
which
not using clickbait.
For anyone that hasn't done it before, like that DKIM stuff, 10 minutes to set up. Like, it's not a very complicated thing. If you're going to look at the string it says to implement, you're going to be like, the heck is this? But like, no.
Yeah. Google has ways to do it pretty easy. Most of the hosting companies, if they're going to be hosting your email, and that's the other one too, depending on the host, like WP Engine, Flywheel, I think Paige, none of those even do any email hosting at all.
Which is good because one, you want to host your email from your hosting in case you ever want to move hosts, and two, you want to have your email hosted with somebody who specializes in email.
Yeah. And that's, again,
such as Travis,
SendGrid, Postmark, Mailgun. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Same thing. Like, you want like your hosting to be with people who focus on hosting, domain purchasing with companies that focus on domain. They have domain registrars.
Yeah. The one I run into with that one is who do you use for your DNS?
I use Paige
because I was using Cloudflare, and I'm running into issues all over the place now, and I'm having to go back to where my domain is actually registered at, which is with Google Domains at this point. So,
which is honestly usually fine.
Yeah, it should be. I used to use GoDaddy for all of that, and I just was running into so many issues. Just I hated their interface, and I wanted to stop buying domains from GoDaddy anyway. So
I opt for using Pageless. It's built off of the AWS DNS stuff.
okay,
And just because it's within Pagely, like it'll automatically set up records anytime I set up a new subdomain or anything like that. It makes it
okay.
easy.
Do you have to host with Pagely in order to use their domain
Yes.
services? Okay, so yeah, that's the issue. I'm not going to host through Pagely, so just don't have that kind of money floating around. I'm fine with using Flywheel. Oh, by the way, everybody who has donated to Tampa Bay, WPTampaBay.org, which at this point is me. Thank you, donor. Thank you for all the donating you've done. But anyway, and that's not true. There is one other company that has. They've actually given us $100 both times we promoted their developer conference. And every time we promote their developer conference, they usually give us $100 or $150, and that has actually allowed us to completely pay for the registration and the hosting for WP Tampa Bay. And I'm currently looking at either paying for the annual fee for StreamYard, or we're going to be testing out EVMUX next month, to see how it works. Those are the two online-based or web-based online streaming systems that are pretty good. I like StreamYard, which is what we've been using so far, but EVMUX has a lot more capabilities, and it's about the same price. So it's worth checking out. So we'll see. You'll see it next week or next month, unless I don't get to it by then. But anyway, also I want to thank our other donor, Jim True, for the amount of donating money that he gives, to keep us in business.
Thank you, Jim True.
Yeah. Thanks, Jim, for sending some money every month. So anyway, we have another person. We have Andy Oop. That looks like it.
Wait, Nichelle, did you have a question?
Yeah, did you? You did, and Nichelle, actually, you did post something on Facebook. You needed help. You were looking for, and no one ever responded to you. It was very sad.
What was I looking for? A design firm?
I think so. Yeah, you were looking for a design firm. Yeah.
Yeah, I was. Yeah. At our company, we're getting to the space where the firm that we're using is getting kind of greedy.
Okay.
Because we kind of like established them as our primary. So we were just looking for a secondary firm, design firm,
Okay.
preferably could be somebody local, doesn't have to be that, has really good in what they're doing and really innovative, and that we can work with on like smaller scale projects.
Are you needing like print and design, or are you needing like web design?
Web design, web and also app. Not because we're getting to the space this year where we're syncing up. Well, we started last year syncing up our site design with our app design, so that the experience isn't so jarring between the two, where before you could tell you was in two different spaces, and these are a little bit more aligned with each other now, visually for our customer base, and also in the functionality. But there's things that we have going on a scale that may not be a full design project, but we should be able to pass off our style guide to them, or our style component, say, hey, we need to get these 5 things done. Can you follow the style guide and come up with the design based off what the site looks like? And so we were just trying to find some other resources that may be available to us.
Sounds interesting, yeah.
Yeah, it definitely sounds interesting. So
I know someone
that's. Oh, go ahead, Travis.
I know someone who would be excellent for the role. Unfortunately, his time is very limited, so I'm hoarding him to myself. he only does like a very little amount of freelance work on the side.
Okay. Yeah. No, we need a
Full time.
Yeah, we need an agency, type of thing. It's smaller projects, it's scale. Like last year, we did a full site refresh, but there's some things out of the refresh that we couldn't take on because of timing, how releasing works within our code release works within our environment. So we need to be able to pick some of those things up, but we have a lot of accessibility things that we're working on that we just need help, somebody who can, delve in, because we've identified all the issue, but we need help with getting some of those things done. So that's kind of.
We got a question.
Finding people like that have an eye for something like that accessibility work and stuff. It's difficult.
Yeah, we have a question in the chat. Sorry about the pick. So we have Pennywise the Clown joining us. This is Andy Oop. Sorry about the pick. My daughter did that. I'm putting together a client gallery and individuals. Is there any easier way to add individual links to each photo? It depends on how you're doing the client gallery. If you're talking about using a gallery within WordPress, most of that is built in, but there are a couple of plugins that I used to use whenever. Oh, hang on, this is another part of the question. So individual can download their photo. The problem is I have over 400 images. Okay. What you'd want to use then, you definitely want to use a plugin that actually manages your galleries a little better. Let me grab another. I'm going to drag this window off over here. And I'm thinking of, is Foo Gallery still around?
I've used it in the past, but I don't know about lately.
Yeah, I don't know either. That's what I'm going to check real quick. Because is it still run by Adam Warner, or has it been switched hands?
I'm not sure.
I'll find out. Oh, here we go. No, it's still being updated, and it's still being run by Foo Plugins. So here, give me a second. I will share the screen. This is the one I would probably look at. I used to use this one on a regular basis, primarily because it automatically recognized when you attached images to a page, or like if you uploaded images to a page or anything of that nature, it automatically treated them as a gallery for that post or page. And it works really well with the WordPress gallery. And as far as I remember, it's got some really good block support. So that's the one I would probably check out. Go ahead, Travis.
Andy's pointing out that they already bought Modula, which is a gallery plugin. Honestly, I would reach out to their support if you paid for it.
Yeah, if you paid for it, reach out to them. Yeah.
This sounds like a very common use case that they should have a solution for.
Right. And if you just recently purchased it and they don't help you, get a refund. But yeah, I've used Foo Gallery, the free version, quite a bit. And I loved the fact that it did a really good job with, you know how like when you're clicking on images and it automatically drops them up in a modal and has the little links to download and everything right there? It had all of that. And that was the primary reason I liked it. And the fact that it integrated immediately with the WordPress gallery, which is how I typically manage all of my images within the WordPress space. Now, that being said, if you need your galleries to actually be much more organized, because the media gallery is not a very organized space within WordPress, and they haven't really touched it, and they really should. It's very much out of date. That I want to say that this gallery does do a very good job of that, but we might have to install it and check it out locally here to see if that's one of those kind of things. Yeah, Andy, you should never have to attach a link to a picture. You should never have to, because unless the link to the picture is to something else, you know what I mean? If the picture is inside your WordPress gallery, downloading that picture at multiple sizes and multiple resolutions is part of WordPress, and that should be automatic. If that's not happening as part of your gallery plugin, then you definitely need to reach out to support for your gallery plugin to find out why. And if it is not part of their system, get rid of it and switch to Foo on that one. I do not recommend Envira Gallery. I do not recommend NextGen Gallery. NextGen Gallery is a mess. It creates its own gallery ID that isn't even a post type. It creates odd meta and all manner of stuff. So,
what about easy digital downloads? Can you integrate that somehow with a gallery?
That's completely different. Yeah, Easy Digital Downloads isn't really designed to be a gallery download system. Yeah. It's a download. It's a digital product, but not gallery. She's got here the link for the picture is a link to a high-res pic from a thumbnail. Yeah, that should, Andy. That should not be hard to do.
No, it's standard gallery stuff.
Yeah, that's standard gallery stuff.
USF 89.7 Tampa.
No, we don't want to talk to NPR right now. So anyway, yeah, that should be standard, and you should be able to set up as part of the gallery configuration that links to the image. Links clicking on the thumbnail opens up the modal or downloads a specific size and stuff like that. All of that should be part of your gallery plugin. When you look at Foo, it's kind of got that whole thing. It's got your standard, adjust thumbnail size, border size, focus on performance, focus on SEO, albums built in. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I would check this one out if modular doesn't work the way you want. So hopefully that's helpful. I don't think you've done anything very wrong, Andy. Yeah, came back with, okay, I've done something very wrong. No, you haven't. Just check it out. See if, reach out to their support is the first thing. And if they don't help you, see if you can get your refund and take a look at another one. And I always tend to recommend people to look at the free plugins first, even if they have a pro version, to see if the free plugin does mostly what you need it to do before you invest in a paid one. Okay?
Jim, before you move on, I just want to say if he's using high-res pics, he might want to check into that too, because you're saying it's taking like 5 minutes to load for each.
Wow.
Your resolution, or you may be able to compress your imagery. It might be your images are too large also.
Yeah, that's when you want to look at something like Smush. Smush is this little plugin right here. It does image optimization for WordPress. Basically, it does it on upload, and you can have it run against your entire gallery as well. This is the one by WP Dev. I had issues when I ran it on the site all the time. So what I ended up using was I did it just for the smooshing part, and then I used a plug. If you're on a Mac, before I dropped my images in, I would actually send them through. Let me see if they've got it.
Image Optim?
Image Optim, thank you. Image Optim. I don't know if there's I don't think there's a WordPress plugin for it, but there may be a. This is the Image Optim. Better say for web. Come on, wake up. There we go. This add-on for Mac basically just drag the images onto it, and it automatically optimizes them. It's wonderful. It's my highest recommended thing. You can even set it up as shortcuts or automator thingies or whatever they're called. So, and it clears off the EXIF data if you want to get rid of it. It has a lot of options. So, okay. Alrighty. Okay. So hopefully that answered your question. Okay. Let's see. We did have one other question over on. Did we get your question answered, Michelle? You just need help, right? You need a design person.
Sorry, on mute. Just recommendations, but no worries.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, big C's out there, they do that, but if they didn't respond to you on Facebook, they're probably not going to respond unless you call them directly. We have the Slack, but we haven't really seen a lot of people in our Slack other than us.
It kind of ties back to like an ongoing issue we have as a community. It's like having a good directory built up of like verified people in the area who are these kind of things.
Facebook used to be pretty good about it, but it's kind of gotten quiet, and I think that's just part of the whole pandemic thing. This is what Andy asked about. Andy Von Boos. And I handled his request, so let's see. He asked, I have some confusion of the use of US ACF and CPTU. It appears to me that CPT UI is first used to set up the content post type, like books, and then ACF is used to set up the fields, author, title, etc. The second issue I have is how does one show the results on the front end? YouTube has not been my friend on this. Of course, I responded, check out Pods, because Pods does the custom post type registration, the field additions, the taxonomy, and also provides a very easy way to get the data shown on your web front end. Now, that being said, I did point him to Grow Beyond Posts and Pages and some other stuff like that. He also asked about how to handle front end post input and editing, and I pointed him to Gravity Forms. Has both. Have three different solutions right now. There's two that are built into Gravity Forms. One is an add-on, and then there's also one other solution. There's Gravity Forms has post fields, so you can actually set up an entire form that is designed just to go to posts. So you can set it up to go, your featured image, everything, all handled within Gravity Forms. You can use advanced post creation if you need to have more control over it, or control what the payment happens, and there's a couple of different settings along those lines as well. There is Gravity Forms plus custom post types, which is made by GravityWiz, and that allows you to use the post fields but for custom post types. And then there's also Pods Gravity Forms add-on. Pods Gravity Forms add-on works with Gravity Forms and Pods to create input screens and also edit screens. And as far as I know, right now, it's the only one that handles edit right out of the box. So I'm planning on doing another talk, refreshing the Grow Beyond Posts and Pages, Grow Beyond! And it'll be showing the integration with the block editor and stuff like that. So I'm happy to give a couple examples, but we're getting near our end window, and I don't want to throw that into this one. But if it looks like we don't have a lot of questions next month, I might end up doing a Pods talk and Gravity Forms talk and talk about the block editor and stuff like that. Because the goal is used to, when I use Pods, I would use their auto templates feature, which was great, but it did require knowledge of HTML, and a lot of people just don't know HTML. So what I was going to do is look at the block editor and the block loop and the template control tech that's built into Gutenberg now, and see how that works with Pods. So.
And also, if you know a little bit of PHP, doing the custom post type and taxonomy registration directly is not terribly difficult. It's like one function call for each.
Yes, but notice from the comment, that did not sound like a PHP familiar person. So, just putting it out there. Because I honestly, yes, it's very easy to register posts. It's very easy to register fields. It's very easy to register taxonomy.
I would disagree on registering fields. Doing the UI for that, pain in the butt.
Yeah, there you go. So, but anyway, there are tools out there. ACF's not bad, but ACF only does fields. It doesn't handle post types at all. And while they do have tools to get the content on the front end, a lot of that does require quite a bit of PHP. So,
duly noted. Duly noted.
Yeah. So that's all we have as far as questions go.
Oh, I have a question.
Go for it, Elaine. We are open and ready for you.
Okay. I was working in some hosting on the caching for domain, and it had a drop down for PHP versions, so you could choose, all the way from 5.6 all the way to 8 or 8, even over 8. Now, what is the recommended PHP if it supports it? Can we go up to 8?
WordPress does not support everything in 8 yet.
Yeah,
so
I would say
7.4. You don't want to go past what WordPress supports.
Well, what does WordPress support then?
PHP.
7.2 or 7.4?
7.4. 7.4. Yeah. WordPress PHP support requirements. Okay. Yeah, to run WordPress, we recommend... Well, where'd it go? Hang on. Add to stream. Here we go. To run WordPress, we recommend your host supports PHP version 7.4 or greater, MySQL 5.7 or greater, and of course HTTPS.
So 8 is supported by WordPress core.
But it isn't.
You are likely going to run into issues with some plugins not supporting fully.
Right.
Right.
I've actually seen issues with WordPress core supporting PHP 8. We've had lots of that.
They're gonna have to, because security support for PHP 7.4 ends at the end of November.
Okay. So they have to get on it. Yeah.
Don't have a choice.
Yeah. I can't remember what.
I didn't know that.
It was a
Okay.
specific library that I remember. It's something to do with either REST API or something in PHP 8, from what I gather. But that's one of those you have to do your research on. I would not go higher than PHP 8. Like 8.1, definitely not right now. So
7.4 is a safe spot to sit in right now, and depending on what version you're currently, if you're running any version of PHP 7, you are, I would feel safe to say you are safe to just go straight to 7.4. If you're on 5.6, I would upgrade to 7.0, make sure everything's good, 7.1, etc. until you get to 7.4.
Yeah. And do it in staging. Don't do it on your live site, obviously. So. And depending on the host, you may end up having they may have to like take it offline and bring it back too. So there's some, depending on the version, they may have to move it to another server.
Yeah.
I've ran into that a couple of times. So. Did that help?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And what were you said that caching? Did you have a caching?
Well,
question?
it was somehow grouped with the caching, as
okay.
if you wanted to upgrade the caching, they wanted to know what version of PHP you were in, or wanted, or whatever. So I
This
just
was in
like,
a caching plugin?
it was in the hosting setup.
What host?
Opal Stack.
Don't know that one.
I never heard of that.
Yeah, I never heard of that.
That sounds like a cPanel thing then.
Yeah, it does sound like a cPanel type thing.
Yeah, I guess it's sort of their cPanel.
I haven't been.
They don't call it cPanel though.
Of course not. Why would they call it cPanel? Bluehost doesn't call it cPanel either, but it is. So. Yeah.
But I would also expect something like that. Like if certain caching mechanisms are requiring certain PHP versions, I would expect them to like not rely on the customer to know which
That's
which.
why I'm asking. I was sort of asking,
yeah.
like, whoa.
Yeah.
First time I've been asked. Yeah.
Which is a kind of another. It's kind of similar to that last question. Where you're like, I would go to the host and be like, "What is this?
Yeah.
Explain it to me."
Yeah, that's kind of the whole reason they are the host. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
That. Any more questions? Come on, everybody has questions. I have to say, Gravity Forms just put out version 2.6, probably in the last 3 or 4 weeks, something like that. It was only like in limited release, and then it's been fully released to our entire environment now. Love the changes. Love the changes. You now have the submit button. You can control where it is in the form. Remember how you used to have to go to form settings to do it? Now it's actually physically in the editor.
I was actually confused by that the first time I used it.
Really?
Because I hear
it.
that, and I think like, oh, I can put the submit button anywhere in the form. So I go to like try to drag and drop. I'm like, why can I not drag and drop this submit button, Bill? Like,
Because you can't.
yeah,
Submit
exactly.
buttons are supposed to be the last thing on the form.
I know that, but like when it's like introduces like, hey, you can put the button, like you can move the button around on the form. I was expecting to like move the button around on the form.
Yeah. It's kind of it's interesting. It's a neat little interface. I also like the embed the form into a page or a post, either adding a new page or post, or an existing page or post is now built into Gravity Forms, so you can go straight from there to the block editor. It's really nice. You can also copy the shortcode directly from there as well. The new choices flyout is really nice. Used to be this little tiny screen that was really hard to read. Now it's like and very easy to read. So quite useful. Can't remember what
Any easy way to edit the radio controls in Gravity Forms?
Yeah, I mean,
The little
what do you mean, like
buttons.
the way they look?
Yeah, the way they.
That's all CSS. That's all
okay,
CSS.
so I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Gravity Forms themes, which I can't talk about, are down the road and they're coming soon. So they're on the roadmap. It's basically form themes is coming down the road, and I think we have been discussing the whole idea of making the radio buttons. Is that what you're talking about? Like instead of having little radio buttons that you click on and you choose the options, where they're actually those become buttons.
Yeah, more like bigger visible buttons.
Yeah, that is done with CSS, but I think we're gonna actually probably publish that as a theme way to do that, because that's useful for folks that have donations and stuff like that, where you want all of your donation amounts, your radio option amounts to be buttons instead of they still are radio options, but they are buttons, so that that kind of a thing. Yeah.
And I know what else you're thinking. Like, man, is there a way to easily create legally binding signatures in Gravity Forms? I'll have a solution for you at the end of the month.
Segue. Yeah. Well, honestly, Travis and I were talking about that. What Travis is talking about is the Four Gravities. What's the name of the add-on again?
Upcoming product. It's called legal signing. It's like, hey, what if we took what you can do with DocuSign around like being able to collect legally binding signatures, but we combine that with a more affordable cost because it's on your WordPress site. You own the data because it's on your WordPress site, and all the power of Gravity Forms, where not only can you also like collect payments with it, create WordPress users, send things off to MailChimp, but you can also have all the signing done in a native form flow that fits directly into your website, and it's not off on some third-party area.
Yeah. It's very, very powerful, very needed thing for the infrastructure. I mean, if I was still doing websites and still doing agency work, I would take that product and I would create a template of that using for like doing like property, real estate contracts. And I would walk to every single real estate contract company that's on Redfin and and make a fortune right now, because they all need it. Every single.
Realize with stuff like DocuSign, like the cost adds up very quick. Like,
oh yeah,
you are limited like on those plans just like right off the jump to just one user. And because of WordPress, it's unlimited users. Like, at no extra cost.
This is my real estate contract for my house, my closing documents. Okay, prior to even getting to this point, like the appraisal, the inspection, the insurance agency signatures, all that kind of stuff, it adds up. And I mean, every single one of them was using DocuSign, and those were, you figure that's 5 parties. Typically, between, the inspector, the adjuster, the appraiser, the closing title company, all that kind of stuff. There's at least 5 individuals involved in most cells. And if you handled creating just a standard one, just took like one of their said, hey, give me your title company. Go to title companies, not mortgage companies. Go to title companies and do this for them. They would be able to honestly do most of the work outside of the closing or before the closing, so that all you really had to do was come in and everything was pre-signed, everything was already read. People could read it in their own time and stuff like that, and yeah.
And that's something we're working on highlighting soon, because we do track usage data. And when I say we track usage data, we're not tracking any personal data, just general like when was a document generated, what's the file size, what's the page count. That very basic like metadata level thing, but we will have a live infographic on our site soon that shows how many pages like are not being printed, how many trees are not being cut down, because like we are digitizing these workflows.
Yeah, good stuff. Insurance companies, real estate companies, HIPAA, doctors' offices, yeah, huge one.
So, Travis, I'm quite sure that you guys going to make it easily available for people to get it in PDF and.
Yes, so it's built on top of our fillable PDFs product. So like for that document, like first you'll come in with a PDF with editable fields in it. You'll upload it. You'll map your form fields to it, and then you like set how many signers you want, and like assign specific form fields to specific signers so they can only fill out part of the form that's relevant to them, and like the other stuff's in from them. And then at the end, they will get a PDF that like you can. The fillable fields will be disabled, and we'll have an audit trail certificate attached to it that showed the exact record of events of like when everybody viewed it, was notified to sign, when they signed it, and then it'll be also attached with a certificate that says, hey, we generated it at this time. And so if that certificate does not exist because somebody tampered with the PDF, then you know they tampered with the PDF.
Yeah, tax accountants is another one, because tax forms are all PDF and have very specific places you have to fill out information and sign and stuff like that.
That's one thing we'll be doing soon, because we're gonna soft launch this before like going out wide, because we have we blew up our mailing list this week thanks to Gravity Forms mentioning us. But we're going to be doing a video demo to customers soon, and doing a survey to kind of get a feel for like who is looking for the solution, so we can tailor it to everybody better.
Yeah, great stuff.
Very exciting. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, Anne had a question because she missed last month. She says, where I work, we save archives of every page, and I'm having trouble keeping my slugs straight. If you're saving an archive of an existing page, the first thing you want to do is actually go to the slugs and edit it. Add a year, add a month. If you're doing if you know that you're only doing them every month, add the 2020 or 2022 hyphen and the month year at the end of it or at the beginning of it. We run into that with Ask Us Anythings, because on our website, all of our events for Ask Us Anythings, they're all called Ask Us Anythings. So they all have the exact same slug. They're automatically generated by Meetup when they pop in. So the very first thing I do before I publish our next Ask Us Anything or the calendars and stuff like that is I go in and edit the slug and change it to Ask Us Anything, year, month, day. And that's usually the easiest way to control that kind of stuff. Slug management is like the silliest thing about WordPress, that having two slugs with the same name creates a problem, because they only give you so many to do it with anyway, and it's kind of bizarre that that's a thing with WordPress, but it is, and that's the easiest way to get around it, is just edit them when you archive. Like duplicate, make a copy, that'll automatically change the slug anyway, and then just change the slug at that point to what you want it to be. Okay? Hopefully
that's a good suggestion. That's a good suggestion, Jim. I'm thinking about that.
Thank you. Yeah. It's easier than trying to pop it into specific directories. Like I used to try to do that a lot. That's a problem with posts, I think, with WordPress, is the fact that posts by their nature are off the root of your thingy. Yeah, no more 22223. Yeah, you definitely don't want that. You want to control the slug if you can, and creating a standard for that is the easiest way to handle that kind of stuff. I would keep it the name of the document and then the year and day afterwards instead of flipping it. I don't like a lot of the WordPress built-in post, URL naming conventions they do. I always recommend people to take complete control of that if they can, because it matters SEO-wise, and it matters, can I find it? So.
Good suggestions. Yeah.
Thank you. Wow, we made it to 7:30. We actually stayed here a whole hour. Good Lord, what a shocker. So I guess we have no more questions.
Well, let's talk about the media library for a moment.
Okay. What do you want to talk about with the media library?
How can we get control of it a little bit better?
Honestly, within WordPress, you can't. That's kind of the problem with it. You can clean it up with Smush and make the, you can, basically there's the three major things that I run into in media libraries. They have way too many images generated for every image. And that's a problem of the theme. When a theme has way too many sizes defined, your WordPress is automatically going to generate each of those sizes. By default, WordPress is going to create a thumbnail, I think a medium, a large, and then the full size. So you're going to at least have 4 images created every time you add an image to the media library. Depending on your theme, it can add a whole bunch more. You want to get in control of that one by using a plugin like Image Sizes. I think that's what it's called. Let me see. Plugins. There we go. Image Sizes. Not that. The Smush is good for making your stuff cleaner, but this is not the one I'm looking for. Imagify? No. Re-smush it. Gotta love these names, huh?
Yeah.
Swear.
What did you plug in to look for it? What was your search?
I searched for image sizes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because all of that is created by your theme, but you want to take control of that if you can. Let me see. It's either going to be one of these like simple images sizes, or it's going to be like easy image sizes. I can't remember what we have on Denise's site because I haven't done this in years. But basically what you're looking for is something that limits the sizes that are created and gives you the ability to regenerate them automatically and clean up the ones that shouldn't be there anymore. Because if you've changed themes a couple of times, you may have image sizes from this theme, and then image sizes from this theme, and then image sizes from this theme.
There is that plugin, Regenerate Thumbnails. What does that do?
Maybe that's it. You think that's it?
I don't know.
That might be it.
Exactly
That actually sounds right. Elaine, hang on. Yeah, I think that's it. Automatically regenerate all your image thumbnails. It's useful for regenerating. Does it allow you to create image sizes? No.
Okay.
No, it doesn't allow you to create image sizes, but it does tell you what you have. Like if, here, let me zip this up a little bit. There we go. It tells you what sizes are defined on your site. Because, like, see how many of those? My goodness. Thumbnail, medium, large, 2017 feature, 2017 thumbnail avatar. You want something that allows you to clean that up. And I'm not seeing... Update the content of post. Skip regenerating. Does thumbnail for old. Delete thumbnail files for old unregistered sizes. That's good right there. It does have the ability to clean out your old mess from old themes. So it would be good for that. But you need something that would actually allow you to define the sizes. That's what I'm looking for. Because that's a good one. I just can't think of the name of the damn plugin. Can you think of one, Travis?
No, because I generally get out of code.
Yeah, I figured you did. But
Function.
yeah, there should be. I mean, you can, but you shouldn't have to. There are plugins that help you clean it up. So Regenerate will at least help you clean it up to your current theme's image sizes. Smush for optimizing when you've already got the images uploaded. As far as organizing the media library,
There is, yeah.
there are plugins. I don't know how much I trust them.
Yeah.
Like there's folders. Which kind of tries to add a file manager to it. There's Filebird, which I've heard about, does kind of the same thing.
Which really all they're doing is adding post meta.
Yeah, all they're doing is adding post meta, right? Because your images are just posts on your WordPress website, but they're posts of a post type of attachment, I believe, or
yes, that's
yeah, something like that. But most of these are not worth it. Like Media Library Assistant, that kind of real media library. Most of these, unless they are working with everything, I think that's pretty updated. Well, let's take a look at folders real quick. By Premio. And it has a pro plan. Of course it does. Give me some screenshots. Thank you for all the discussion. Where are the screenshots? Way down here. Okay, so it adds this kind of folder organization.
That's not too bad. It's all right.
It's okay. Yeah. See, me, I just honestly think WordPress needs to do this in core. This needs to be redesigned in core. And it's a travesty they haven't done it yet. And not a Travis, but a travesty. Sorry, dad joke. Couldn't resist. Don't mind me. But yeah, that's what I would suggest as far as media library goes, is that the most important thing is to get rid of the mess in your media library, and Regenerate Thumbnails will help you do that, and the Smush. And as far as organizing it, honestly, you need something that will find your orphans, the images that aren't attached to a post type or attached to a post, and clean them up. Yeah. And I tend to, when I design a site with content, I design it so that the featured image is specific to the post and the custom post or whatever. So it's very specific to the content. If you need that featured image to do more than just the standard work, like, you know, maybe creating a big gigantic header image, or maybe it's always going to be, like if your featured image is always going to be a small square on the left-hand side of the page, but not be like the background for the page or something, like maybe that's coming from somewhere else, then define that image where that image is coming from somewhere else, like maybe at the taxonomy level. So there's things to do along those lines, but I try to use WordPress's built-in features like featured images for that kind of stuff, and galleries for images attached to a post that apply to that post. Like if you're creating a MLS site, a real estate site, you've got the big main image, which is the house or whatever, and then you've got all the different images of the house, which are down on the gallery level, and they're a gallery for that post is how they should be treated. So. And you can do a lot of that with pods too, which I have done. So
Cool.
That help?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we are at 7:30, folks. We have done our hour of talking. Thank you so much, all of our 425 viewers that watched us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure having you on our calls. You almost outnumbered how many people we have on the call. As always, please like and subscribe to us on YouTube. We have a couple of videos that have gotten quite a few views, but most of those had to do with pods, and that's the reason they've gotten all the views they've gotten. We want to get up to 10,000 subscribers so that Jim can get something to hang right there on his wall. I'm just kidding. I don't care if I ever get anything from YouTube. But, thank you, Ann. I just saw that she said thank you, so I want to give you a thank you back. So yeah, like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Make sure you visit our website at wptampabay.org, and we will see you next month on May 3rd, I believe it is. And let me find our little video that we do at the end that I need to redo. So see you in... hang on, I gotta get rid of that little banner first. I always forget, because it will override everything. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay. Thank you, Travis. Thank you, Nichelle. Thank you, Elaine, for joining the call. You're wonderful. And we will see you all next month. Thank you for watching a recorded session from WordPress St. Petersburg Meetup. We meet once a month on the first Tuesday of the month, live streaming online through our YouTube channel and Facebook group. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up on YouTube, and be sure to subscribe and click the bell to be notified when new videos are added. Find out more about WordPress St. Petersburg at our website at wptampabay.org.